Good morning, students. Welcome to virtual learning class. Now, we are going to learn the same history chapter third, that is ruling the countryside, and of that chapter, part 3. Before starting the part third, we will just take a quick recap of part second, what we learnt. So, in the part second, what we learnt? We have seen how European emphasize or insist Indian cultivators to cultivate different type of crops, right? Then we have seen different stages of indigo plantation. How was indigo cultivated? And after that, two system we have seen of particular methods for indigo cultivation. So first one was niche system, niche cultivation, and second one was Rioti system that we have already seen. So what was in that? In the niche cultivation, under this system, the planter produced on the land which was under his control by the way of ownership or rent basis. Large fertile area was required for indigo, and because of that, whatever ownership you will be having, they have to pay on the basis of rent. And again, in the Rioti system, under this system, planters entered into the contract, correct, with riots or the village headman, and provide them with a loan to grow indigo with the condition to keep 25% land exclusively for indigo cultivation only, because side by side they were cultivating the rice plantation as well. So indigo on the land of riots. From that topic we are going to start our this chapter again. Okay, let's see. So under the rioti system, actually the planters force the cultivators to sign a contract. उनसे एक कॉन्ट्रैक्ट साइन करवा के लेते थे वो एग्रीमेंट. What was that? At times they pressurized the village headman, right? Completely they were on a pressure. They pressurized the village headman to sign the contract on behalf of the riots. See, on the behalf of riots cultivators or the peasants, who is going to sign? Village headman. Those who signed the contract got cash in advance from the planters at low rate of interest to produce indigo. See what was happened. जो planters थे वो क्या कहते थे विलेज हेडमैन को? यू हैव टू साइन द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ऑन द बिहाफ ऑफ रियोट्स. एंड एडवांस किसको मिलता था? विलेज हेडमैन. ओके, बट the loan committed the riots to cultivating indigo on at least 25% of the area under his holding, and the planter provide the seed and the drill. What planters used to provide? Only seed and the drill, nothing else, while the cultivators prepared the soil, sow the seed, and look after the crop. सी द प्रॉफिट इज गोइंग टू हैव अ प्लांटर्स ओनली. जो प्लांटर्स थे उनको सिर्फ प्रॉफिट मिलने वाला था. एंड ये हार्ड वर्क हु इज सपोज टू डू द हार्ड वर्क? रिवॉर्ड्स. what they have to do? They have to prepare the soil, sow the seed, and also look after the crops as well. In the figure you can see workers harvesting indigo in early 19th century Bengal. Okay, so from Goldsworthy Grant ruler arrived in Bengal in 1860. In India, the indigo plant was cut mostly by men, right? And in the next figure, the indigo plant being brought from the fields to the factory. You can see over there um, women on the bullock carts. There are few men. So all together, they brought from the field indigo plant to the factory. Now this was regarding the system. Now we are going to see how indigo plantation happened. Indigo plantation process, what is the process of that plantation? Okay, so I'm going to show you one small video, so look at that video carefully, so all your doubts will be cleared over there. Okay, here we go.
Indigo has been part of India's cultural heritage going back over 4,000 years, around the time of the Indus Valley Civilization. Ambaragam Manikam is a fourth-generation natural indigo dye producer. He hails from the village of Kangarapattu, which is now the cradle of the production of this natural product. Ambaragam cultivates 1,000 acres of indigo crop, producing over 7 tons of dye per annum. Through our short presentation, we will guide you through the production process of this precious product. A process which uses only traditional, time-tested methods. Pure, natural indigo dye. First, the land must be ploughed well by tractor. To sow 1 acre of land, it takes 8 kilograms of good quality indigo seeds. These plants are 30 days old. After 90 days, the plants are harvested. They are then transported to the water tanks. Using iron rods and wooden logs, the plants are pressed down into the water-filled tanks. The leaf-soaked water, now green, is released into the second tank. This water is fermented manually by the workers. Once the sediment forms, it is released into another, smaller tank, and then transferred into a copper vessel. The leftover waste water is a good biofertilizer and is used to water the fields. Next, the sediment in the copper vessel is boiled vigorously for 1 to 2 hours. After boiling, the sediment is filtered using cloth. It takes approximately 12 hours to complete the filtering process. Resembling blue jam, the filtered indigo is pressed to remove the moisture. Afterwards, it is cut into cakes and dried in the shade. The final product is sold in cake form and also as a powder.
I hope you are having a clear idea about indigo plantation now. Correct? So, you have seen over there how plantation was going on. Yes? Okay, now in the picture also you can observe an indigo factory located near the indigo fields, painting by William Simpson from 1863. Let's discuss its process. Here we go. So the indigo villagers were usually around indigo factories, right? Owned by planters. All the control was in the planter's hand. So after harvest, the indigo plant was taken to the vats in the indigo factory. 3 or 4 vats were needed to manufacture the dye, right? Each vat had separate function. The leaves stripped of indigo plant were first soaked in warm water in vat, known as fermenting or steeper vat, for several hours. When the planters fermented, the liquid began to boil and bubble. Now the rotten leaves were taken out and the liquid drained into another vat that was placed just below the first vat. In the second vat, known as bitter vat, okay, which was the dry um, made by the dry leaves. The solution was continuously stirred and beaten with paddles, as you have seen in the video. When the liquid gradually turned green and then blue, lime water was added the vat. Gradually the indigo separated out in flakes. A muddy sediments settled at bottom of vat and a clear liquid rose the surface. The liquid was drained off and the sediments, the indigo pulp, transferred to another vat known as the setting vat. You know that small blocks were there, small type of tank were there. In that they were separated and then pressed and dried for sell. Right? So all that process you have seen. Vat means a fermenting or storage vessel where that particular indigo material were stored, that we can called vat. Okay, let's see next. So when the crop was delivered to the planter after the harvest, a new loan was given to Rai and the cycle started all over again. See what was happening when crop delivered to the planter. After that harvesting, a new loan was given to the riots. उनको फिर से न्यू लोन दिया जाता था and again then cycle started. So peasants who were initially tempted by loans, now they realize how harsh the system was. They were completely trapped in the planters' situation. The price they got for the indigo they produced was very low, and the cycle of loan never ended. Continuously they have to pay loan, but that much profit they didn't get, so they feel very bad. And because of that loan system also, it was difficult to come out of soon. So they realized that this was the harsh system, this was oppressive system, and they did hard, they have to do hard work, and that's why they feel very bad. There were other problems too. The planters usually insisted that indigo be cultivated on the best soil, in which peasants prefer to cultivate rice. And indigo had a deep roots actually. What happens, students? Listen. the income from the indigo was very less actually. So peasants thought that, cultivators thought that they got trapped in never ending loan cycle, and that land become infertile, unsuitable for growing rice crop. Why? Because when they cultivated over there indigo plant, that indigo plant was having a deep root, and because of that soil become infertile, not suitable for growing the rice crop. So after an indigo harvest, the land could not be sown by with the rice. So because of all that difficulties, all that situation, all the miserable condition, they fed up with all that things, and that's why they decided we have to revolt against planters. So they started revolting, rebel, and that rebel called Blue Rebellion. What was it? Let's see. In March 1859, thousands of ryots in Bengal refused to grow indigo. Why they refuse? As we discuss, they want to cultivate over their rice, but because of indigo plantation, land become infertile. They could not sown rice over there. That's why, as the rebellion spread, ryots refused to pay rents to the planters and attacked indigo factories armed with swords and spears, bows and arrows. Women turned up to fight with pots, pans, and kitchen implements. So in this way, they started the rebellion. Why the Blue Rebellion is name is given? Actually, whatever things were happening, why that things were happening? Because of indigo, and indigo's color is blue color. That's why it's called Blue Rebellion. Okay. So those who worked for the planters were socially boycotted. जो प्लांटर्स के साथ थे ना, उनको बॉयकॉट किया गया, उनको एक्सक्लूड किया गया. And the gomastas, जो gomastas थे, gomastas means agents of planters, those who were helping to the planters who came to collect the rent were beaten up. By whom? By riots. And riots swore they would no longer take advances to sow indigo nor be bullied by the planters. And also with the gomastas, lathials was there. Lathials means those who are having the lathi, strong men maintained by the planters, like bodyguards we can say in a simple language, जिनके पास लाठी थी, जो हैंडल कर रहे थे, जो ऑर्डर्स रिसीव कर रहे थे प्लांटर्स से, दे कॉल्ड लठियाल्स. So all that regarding the revolt. So after that, few questions raised over there. Why did the indigo peasants decide that they would no longer remain silent? Why they have to suffer? So they thought that what gave them power to rebel? रिबेल करने से और क्या होने वाला है? But whatever situation was going on, actually they were fed up with that. So in 1859, indigo riots felt that they had the support of local zamindars and village headmen in their rebellion against the planters, because no one with them. So they tried to convince the zamindars and local headmen. उनको उन्होंने बोला कि yes, you should help us. In many villages, headmen who had been forced to sign indigo contracts mobilized the indigo peasants and fought peach battles with the Lathials. In other places, even zamindars went around villages, urging the riots, the riots to resist the planters. These zamindars were unhappy with the increasing power of planters and angry at being forced by planters to give them land on long lease. See, now what happened? Planters किनको force कर रहे थे? To the zamindars as well, to give the land. So indigo peasants also imagine that the British government would support them. They thought Britishers also should support them. British government should also support them. So because of that, what will happen? They have to um, they will be having a strong support of government, right? So slowly that rebel became popular. So when the news spread of simmering revolt in the Indigo district, there was a lieutenant governor. Okay, so that lieutenant governor toured the region, and within that tour, what they um, investigate over there, the riots saw the tour as a sign of government sympathy for their plight. मीन्स व्हाट रिवॉल्ट थॉट रियोट्स थॉट दैट रियोट को क्या लगा, पीजेंट्स को क्या लगा, अब ये जो गवर्नर लेफ्टिनेंट गवर्नर जो है ये अभी टूर कर रहे हैं, वो इन्वेस्टिगेट कर रहे हैं, सो उनकी सिंपथी अभी हमें मिलेगी. दे विल सपोर्ट अस. व्हाई? बिकॉज ऑफ आवर मिजरेबल कंडीशन. So when in Barasat, a place in Bengal, Barasat, the magistrate Ashley Eden issued a notice stating that the riots would not be compelled to accept indigo contract. See, one magistrate were there in Barasat who Ashley Eden. What he said that nobody will force. Compel means force to accept the indigo contract. A word went around that Queen Victoria had declared that indigo need not be sown. Yes, that Queen Victoria declared that now onwards indigo need not be sown over there. So Eden was trying to placate, मीन्स पेसिफाई, उनको शांत करना चाहते थे एडन to the peasants and control an explosive situation because they were in a very harsh mood. But his action was read as support for the rebellion. And the rebellion spread intellectuals from Calcutta. Intellectuals means few higher authority came from Calcutta, rushed to the Indigo district. They wrote a misery of riots. उन्होंने क्या स्टार्ट किया? रियोट्स के ऊपर लिखना स्टार्ट किया. हाउ देयर कंडीशन वॉज मिजरेबल एंड ऑल. राइट. द tyranny of planters, how the planters were misusing their powers, and the horror of indigo system, how because of indigo system all situation become difficult. So they started the writing up. So worried by that rebellion, government brought the military to protect the planters from assault. So military भी आई वहाँ पे and set up the indigo commission to inquire into the system of indigo production. Now government have to take a fixed decision. Something have to do over there. कुछ तो होना चाहिए. ये rebellion कुछ ठीक नहीं है. So the commission held planters guilty and criticized them for a coercive methods they used with indigo cultivators. और गवर्नमेंट ने क्या डिसीजन दिया? वॉट एवर देयर बिहेवियर अगेंस्ट द cultivators, that is completely bad. They are guilty for that. It declared that indigo production was not profitable for riots. And the commission means that committee asked the riots to fulfill their existing contracts, but also told them that they could refuse to produce indigo in future. Now, which contracts they were already signed, no? So गवर्नमेंट टोल्ड दैट कमीशन टोल्ड दैट दे हैव टू कंप्लीट दैट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. उनको वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एटलीस्ट वो कंप्लीट करना होगा. बट अगर फ्यूचर में उनको नहीं चाहिए तो वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट असाइन नहीं कर सकते वहाँ पे. दे आर हैविंग नाउ दैट concession. But whatever contract already they have signed, they have to complete that contract. But in future they can refuse it. Okay. So after that revolt, what happened? Completely that revolt was going on. So indigo production collapsed in Bengal. Why it collapsed over there? That we will see. Because side by side there was a discovery of synthetic dyes. यस, जो इंडिगो डाइज थे वो कोलैप्स हो चुका था. क्यों? बिकॉज देर वॉज अ डिस्कवरी ऑफ सिंथेटिक. सिंथेटिक आपने सुना होगा नाम, सिंथेटिक मटेरियल होता है. सो बिकॉज ऑफ दैट सिंथेटिक डाइज इट वॉज कोलैप्स्ड, राइट? सो एंड दैट्स वाई cultivators shifted to Bengal from Bihar. Okay. So, in the late 19th century, their business was severely affected, but yet they managed to expand the production in the Bihar. When they shifted in Bihar, slowly they settled down. But really, that revolt was stopped over there? Let's see. We cannot say completely stopped over there. So, when Mahatma Gandhi returned from South Africa, so one of a peasant from बिहार, जो peasants थे वहाँ बिहार में अभी शिफ्ट हो गए थे, तो एक peasant महात्मा गांधी जी से जाके वहाँ पे मिला, and he persuaded him to visit Champaran and see the plight of indigo cultivators there. Again here, plight means their miserable condition. Come and just go through the plight condition of cultivators. So Mahatma Gandhi visited over there in 1917 and marked the beginning of Champaran movement against the indigo planters, and that's why that is the famous movement, one of the famous movement of Mahatma Gandhi ji, when it was held in 1917. That was called Champaran movement against whom? Indigo planters. Okay, so here our chapter ends up to the indigo planters and their situation. Okay, hope you understood this chapter, students. So after that, what given? Indigo making in the West Indies. How afterward indigo expands, how indigo slowly sometimes it that production was collapsed, and after that again they started producing the indigo. Okay, so you can read that particular paragraph. So I hope students you understand the whole chapter here, and you are supposed to write in short whatever you learned over there. Okay, and side by side I hope you have written your notes in your notebook. Okay, so when I will provide you PDF of this particular lesson, you are supposed to read question answer, you are supposed to read lesson at first, the main thing. Okay, so let's conclude our lesson. What we have seen in the whole chapter, how they entered. We have started the chapter with Diwani rights of Britishers, correct? So after that we have turned towards methods to collect revenue. Different methods we have seen in that: permanent settlement, Mahalwari settlement, then Munro system or the Ryotwari system, then how forcefully crops were cultivated, produced over there for Europe, and how it was imported to Europe. Then we have seen lots of information and video about indigo, how it was cultivated, because of that what situation occur on the cultivators. Then situation of planters, tyranny of planters towards the cultivators, and regarding the Blue Rebellion. Okay, so I hope you have understood it. If you have any query, write it down over there in a question form, and at the time of doubt clearance, we are going to clear your doubts. Okay, so here few questions I'm going to show you that you have to think about all that questions, and I'm going to provide you notes regarding these questions. Okay, so hope you understood this chapter, students. Okay, read it carefully, underline the hard words, underline the main points, definitions. Now in the next session we will move towards our next chapter. Okay, till then, bye. Thank you.